I think one of the things that people have to realize about AI, it's not driven by research. It's all market driven. I mean,
yeah, totally.
There's no large institutions that are developing AI studies fast enough to meet with the market. So the market's a kind of a pass fail type of thing. Yeah. Some things work, some things don't. They're going to take some stuff out. They're going to evolve accordingly. And if you keep that in mind, then that may help you kind of just put the brakes on when you feel in your gut that it's just not the right thing.
AI isn't just changing dentistry, it's completely redefining it. Tune into Bite-sized Podcast, the dental AI and tech podcast, and stay ahead of the curve.
Welcome everybody to an episode of Bite-sized Podcast. Leland Wilhoite, did I say your last name right?
Yep, you got it.
I figured I thought I did. Do you prefer Leland or Dr.
Yeah,
Wilhoite?
Leland's good. Yeah.
All right. Well, I've been calling you Leland for weeks now, so probably should have asked that in the beginning. All right, man. Well, I brought Leland on because I don't even know how I found. I spoke for P1 Partners about AI, and you came up afterwards, and we're obviously totally like neck deep in AI stuff. So I thought, I gotta have Leland come on this podcast. So anyway, I've invited Leland on. He's a doctor. Yep. What's the name of your practice?
Wilhoite Family Dental.
Okay.
We're in Indiana.
All right, cool.
Indiana, so
cool. And you're part of P1 Partners.
I'm part of P1 Partners for about a year now. Yeah.
How's that been?
It's been great. It's a transition. It's a different world, but I've enjoyed working with they're just immensely talented people, and I think all these DSOs, and they're specific to jobs. So being an owner of the practice, owning 4 or 5 practices, it's nice to be part of a bigger cog instead of just me kind of pushing things along. So it's been a great kind of team orientated, very interesting with respect to what I've learned. And like I said, they're all talented, really good, driven to make better practices. And so it's been a nice year for me. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, I was invited to come out and speak, and I was kind of floored by the camaraderie and the organization and the theme and like the tribe that's been created. Because I've seen a lot of DSOs, and it's tough to like create a tribe. And you guys have done a really good job of that. Like, I was super impressed.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why I decided to join P1 was I just felt like they had a different culture, very doctor-centered, staff-centered. It's a big organization. They have 60 practices, and they have to do a lot of different things for everybody, but they handle it very well, and they have a great executive leadership team. I just really enjoy what they bring to the table and growing the practice. I'm a few years from retirement, so in helping me grow my practice for whatever transition happens, whenever it happens. So
it totally sold me on your group, though.
What's that?
All right, I'll tell you. I probably shouldn't say this because it's a little bit off-colored, but I met Patrick.
Oh yeah. Patrick's one of them. Yeah.
Is he the CEO or the CFO or?
He's the co-founder.
Co-founder. Okay.
Yeah.
So I met Patrick.
Yeah. He's the rainmaker. Right.
Okay. I met Patrick and I talked to him for 90 seconds and he dropped at least 5 F-bombs. And I'm like, this is my guy. I was like, he was super cool, super like everything out on the table. He was hilarious. I would love to run into him again.
He's got a wealth of knowledge. He's really a great guy to talk to. We've had some great conversations before and after, and we continue to do stuff. And he's very open to things. And outside of being a Notre Dame fan, he's got pretty much the whole thing I know, right? I'm in Indiana. I'm not so anti-Notre Dame, but it's a great school. So they just beat us in football. So,
I love them. They had a great football team last year, man.
They did, They beat my Hoosiers pretty good.
I know. They stomped all over a bunch of people.
Yeah, I like their coach, too. Their coach is really solid.
Yeah.
So he seems like a good influence on those kids. So.
All right, let's talk about AI.
All right, cool.
Okay, so you're in a unique position. You're a doctor. You're part of a DSO, and you're on the board. And you're also on the board of an AI company. So that gives you a really unique perspective where you kind of hit all the angles in terms of talking about the implementation of AI on the dental industry since you've had this perspective. So give me a quick journey, just a little bit of background about why you in particular got sucked into AI and the technology aspect. And tell me a little bit about NVIDIA and you being on the board with them.
So yeah, I think it was probably a year and a half ago. I mean, AI has just been rapidly. I mean, everybody sees it, everybody discusses it. When I was making the transition from private practice to P1, I was always considering early on last year of doing a online course, whichever it was. I ended up doing the Harvard Medical School online AI in healthcare. So it was a very intensive 8 weeks, and it kind of opened my eyes to what AI could do in dentistry. I mean, they teach us enough about AI to kind of know what we don't know, and it kind of opened up to how it works and, data driven and where it is in medicine. And I always during that class kind of took it towards what was happening in dentistry and how it would be useful in dentistry. And, I've seen a lot of things come to fruition, even in the last year, of things I thought, man, it would be really cool if we could do this. Among things with Annie and, a lot of things that we've talked about. We've kind of gone out there and, the potentials and, it's kind of fun to think about. So I took the AI Harvard course and it was really good. I had a capstone project related to dentistry, which we've talked about, created an app. And then it kind of led into P1 saying, hey, we need an AI subcommittee. Yeah. So there's 4 or 5 of us on the subcommittee, and we kind of look at all the AI with respect to what P1's doing. Along with that, I was asked to be part of the advisory committee on NVIDIA, where there's a number of other doctors, and it's a quarterly meeting where we kind of discuss what they're implementing. So it's been kind of nice to see what's coming down the pike with NVIDIA. It's a great company. To me, the 3 big ones are all doing really cool stuff. And I think they're all going to get
Pearl, Overjet, and NVIDIA.
Pearl, Overjet, and NVIDIA. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I think, if there's another one out there, sorry, I didn't. I just.
Yeah. Sorry, we didn't mention you guys.
Sorry, we didn't mention you guys. But,
amp up your marketing.
Yeah. And they're all really good. But, I've gotten to know a lot of the NVIDIA, a few of the people there. And it's been great because they call and ask for advice. And I've called them and said, hey, when you guys are doing this. And so it's kind of interesting to see what the limitations are and why. And so kind of going through that whole thing, I've been able to kind of look at AI and dentistry as a whole. So
were you primarily involved in adopting NVIDIA's product into P1? Were you?
No, it was already there. So I think what we're doing in the committee is we're just trying to get everybody adopted onto AI.
Okay.
So, the big thing with, having that many practices all on the same platform. So, and I've gotten some feedback to Video AI about why some docs aren't doing it and why some are. We don't have that many. So that's one of the things that we're doing is just for us it's a very simple goal for us to have all of our practices on Video AI.
Why aren't the doctors adopting it?
Well, there's a couple of reasons. One is they're just on board. So there's a 100-day onboarding process. And they kind of want to give some time before you throw that at the staff. I had one doctor that was phosphor plates, and he just didn't feel like it worked well. And so I'm trying to find out what that is. I mean, they train it on phosphor plates, but, those can get kind of scratchy and bendy over time. So, maybe the AI has a hard time reading it. So that was kind of new. I'm trying to, give some feedback to NVIDIA. And so, I think the other one was just, guys in transition, just waiting. And, we had one guy who was getting ready to retire and he's waiting for his associate to come on. So like I said, there's just a handful of practices, but we kind of addressed the issue, the committee. That was the number one goal. The other things we're working on the call in and call out AI, trying to figure out what platform is best for us. And then looking at AI in the corporate side, we're getting a Power BI. And so what does that mean?
What's that going to do for you guys? The BI product?
Data
analysis.
Data analysis, just a little more consistent, a little cleaner. We control it. We're creating it. So
what's it doing? Is it looking at the practice management system?
All the practices, through the practice management system. And I think it's customizable to a lot of different things.
Are you guys going to be pulling in like accounting data?
Yeah, I think it's everything. It's been a long project. I think any Power BI is just a long project.
Who's building it for you?
I don't know off the top of my head. The company, I think, I'm not sure. I'm not involved with that really. So I'm just trying to understand it for the doctor's sake. And, our goal in the committee is to kind of be the connection between the doctors and corporate with respect to AI. And so we look at the corporate side to see what they're doing, because I think it's important to understand, then we look at it from what our practices are doing. And, AI is ever evolving. I mean,
it's going so fast. It's moving so fast. You figure it out this week and it's changed by next week.
Yeah. And that's just
Crazy.
I mean, everywhere, but in dentistry especially. So we're moving along there. So I think some of that is kind of the goal in the discussions we have with the people on the committee.
All right. So you mentioned 3 kind of like applications or softwares. You've talked about diagnostics, basically AI diagnostics with NVIDIA. Talking about analyzing and checking, looking for like a outbound dialing agent, inbound agent. So this is somebody who pick up an agent to pick up calls and make outbound calls. And then you talked about the BI. So those are the 3 kind of main things you guys are implementing. Is there
well, I think those are the 3 that everybody's implementing. I mean, I'm pretty sure the bigger DSOs already have a Power BI of some sort that they have. And so, but those are the main 3 I think everybody's involved with, whether it's Pearl, NVIDIA, or Overjet. And then everybody's looking at the practice management side now, and that's getting a little, some of the bigger EagleSoft, Fuse, they're online. And the Ascend are all getting into the AI system game. Revenue Well, I'm sure Lighthouse is on all those guys. So, it's trying to manage it. I think there's just a lot of cooks a lot of chefs in the kitchen.
Well, the technology is like well, on the AI agent side, where you're talking about outbound, inbound agents, because I'm kind of deeply involved in that with Annie AI. I see a new company being launched like every freaking week.
Right.
It's nuts. Like how many people are jumping into this. And my concern is, I mean, obviously it's a little bit of a land grab right now because it's such a new technology, but my concern is compliance.
Yeah.
I mean, Heartland just got smacked with a class action lawsuit because they were using, I can't remember the phone system they were using, but it was tied into an AI agent. And in one of the states where you have to have it was the Federal Wiretapping Act, right? And they weren't announcing to the patients calling in that their calls were being recorded in one of the 8 states that requires both parties to know. And they were using the conversation, training an AI agent that then leverage that conversation to train other agents for other practices, right? So they were using the inbound calls to those conversations as an input to their agent to improve the call quality of their agents. And they just got smacked. Like this is Heartland, right? This is Heartland. This is one of the biggest
a lot of
DSOs
resources,
out. Tons of resources.
A lot of people.
And so when you see, go ahead, sorry.
That's the problem. I mean, an agent, a group like Heartland that has a lot of resources in order to facilitate agents like that, and they find out they ran into problems. There's a lot of regulation issues in general in AI, especially the United States. So, who's doing what and who's regulating, and you run afoul, everybody gives you a checklist, you're good. And then the person you don't even know about says, hey, you can't do this. So I think there's a lot of,
and it's uncharted territory because the technology's new. And so you don't know where breaches can happen. At least, I mean, if you're a developer in AI, you kind of get it. You understand, okay, I need to have encryption here. I need to have firewalls here and blah, 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 blah. But for a dentist who's just like busting his or her butt, drilling and filling, and then reads some, just is introduced to an AI product, they have no idea about the breach capabilities, the encryption and that's required in order to make sure that the AI models are within EPHI and HIPAA compliance.
FDA compliance.
Exactly. It's scary.
Right.
So
it is. And we rely on those companies to do that for us. Right. I mean, credit card processing, anything HIPAA compliant needed. So, I mean, this is all new territory for HIPAA compliance. They have yet to have an AI module to learn about HIPAA compliance, what you can and can't do. But, stating you're talking to an AI agent to me is just paramount. Like the patients need to know.
They really have to.
Yeah.
And frankly, I think a good call after reading that Heartland lawsuit, when you build an AI agent, you can feed it as much whatever data you want, right? So if it's a diagnostics tool like NVIDIA or Pearl or Overjet or whatnot, you can fill it millions of, radiographies or images, right? And it trains it, right? For an AI agent that's like an inbound call agent that's picking up the phone, you can feed it millions and millions of conversations. The problem that hasn't been breached yet or hasn't been talked about is, can you train an AI agent to learn how to have a conversation based on a conversation they've had with another patient on another phone call. You see what I'm saying? You're taking a conversation that is training an agent that then is being used for another practice or something like that. I think like when we built Annie, we built it custom, and we don't do that. But I know that a lot of people are doing it, and it's kind of freaky because I think it's crossing the line. I don't know if we can do that.
Well, yeah, and then all the regulatory agencies will say you can always manipulate the AI model that way. Where's the bias testing? Where's the testing with outside of your framework? How many offices are you doing? I mean, there's a lot of things that are unknown that they can come back and say, hey, you didn't do this. I think it's a big deal. Yeah.
I think there's going to be some legal precedent set here in the next year or two pretty quick.
Yeah. And that'll thin the market out. Right.
Yeah, it will. And it'll educate the doctors, and they'll be asking the right questions before they start implementing AI. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I started this podcast, is to start trying to just spur these conversations where we can go, oh shit, maybe we need to think about this because it's never happened before, kind of thing. So anyway, in our prep call, you talked about, changing subjects slightly, you talked about AI product overreach. So and what you were talking about is that there's a lot of products on the market in all different aspects of how AI can be developed, and they're all starting to cross into each other.
Yeah.
So there was an overreach or a duplication issue.
Tell me
what redundancy.
Yeah.
Tell me what you see with that and where you see things going possibly.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I would define it as an overreach, because I think these companies, the radiographic companies like Overjet and NVIDIA, are just knowing that they can get access to more data and be able to provide it. Then RevenueWell is doing the same thing, let's say, or Lighthouse 360. And then A&E's coming along, and they're coming in from the front end. And so I think you're just getting a lot of crossover redundancy. So it also begs the question of what you're paying for, duplicative data. Is there a way? One of the things we always ask is, can we turn this off? Because we get this elsewhere, especially with DSOs that have Power BIs, because they're getting the same data. So the question is, can you turn it off? We don't want this overload of data. Data is great, but data can be overloaded and manipulated and shown to do things that aren't necessarily needed for a day-to-day practice, for the staff. I mean, it's good for the owners or for the DSOs or for the large practice owners, but to get that data quick. But they're all providing it, and there's a lot of overlapping redundancy in data. So, generally that just is a market-driven, right? They're going to thin out a little bit. They're going to redo their markets, take some things off. All the practice management softwares that I've seen all had data that is just not useful on a day-to-day process for a practice. I mean, it's good for quarterly maybe or yearly, but not day-to-day. So
gotcha. Yeah. Let me give you an example and tell me if this is an example of kind of a very particular example about what you're explaining. So Pearl, I know Pearl pretty well. I don't know NVIDIA as much as I know Pearl, because I know some of the guys that work at Pearl, but Pearl does diagnostics, but they also launched an insurance verification tool. Okay. So now you've got a diagnostics tool, right? And then you also have this insurance verification, because it's such a pain in the ass to sit on the calls all day long waiting for your insurance verification. So they automated that process. But there's like 4 other companies in the industry that started from the other direction.
Right.
Where they developed their AI starting with note taking. So the doctor wears a mic or an app or something like that, records the conversation with the patient, and it summarizes the notes and uploads the notes into the practice management system. That's where they started. But then they did insurance verification as well. So now if you pay for the note taking and you pay for the Pearl, you've got 2 systems that provide insurance verification. Is that what you,
right.
Is that,
exactly. That's exactly what it is. And, then you got the industry-only insurance verification companies that just do that.
Do that, right.
Right. And you can't really get rid of their software sometimes because they're tied to your PMS. And do these companies have the proper access to the PMS programs? So, So you get crosslinks where you're like, hey, can we turn this off? We don't need this. Is there a status? And I think the market takes care of that in a way. But I think that's a great example of what's happening.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. It's going to be interesting how there's a convergence in the industry where there might be one major giant AI agent that you buy that does everything, right? Or do you buy a front office agent and a back office agent or a diagnose? You know what I mean? It'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah.
But it's
Well,
like,
and in the whole world of API, right? I mean, getting access to all this data is not cheap either. So,
no, you pay
you know,
twice every time you do
pay
it.
twice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. And so it's one of those where you're looking at just an overall like AI agent to cover would have to come from the bigger guys. And they do a lot of things good, but they don't do some of the finer things really well.
Yeah.
And so that's going to be where things kind of in the direction they go. But it's tough to figure it out. I mean, it's overwhelming, you know,
Yeah.
on top of our day-to-day obligations in our practice. So
In your going back to P1 Partners and your kind of your three-pronged positions, your doctor on the board of the P1 and the board of NVIDIA, what do you see as kind of like the first, I don't know, successes or the first, what are the things that are happening or the reason why you're implementing that are solving some of the early problems leveraging AI? What is it doing? Like, what are the benefits? Maybe mention a couple of these.
yeah, I mean, obviously radiographic interpretation, it just is making things more efficient. You know, it may catch your eye to certain things. They're getting better and better. It's a great patient education tool. We are doing some AI reading for perios probing.
Okay.
We already have the mic that they're reading off the numbers, and it all goes into the system, so they don't have to write the notes.
Is that with
And
NVIDIA?
so
They have the perio?
that's with a different company. It's all tied in. So
Okay.
that's the thing. I mean, you're
there
paying
you go again,
you're
right
paying
there.
another monthly. You're paying
Yep,
another monthly fee. So there's that what we're already doing.
Okay.
And it's just coming along that way that overseeing all that is just difficult from that level.
Do you have any data on case acceptance using NVIDIA
They
versus
do.
not?
They have some impressive data on case acceptance when they see you have AI reading x-rays and even just the efficiency of the perio probing, because that takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
And there's more and more stuff the hygienists are having to do. So,
Yeah.
but the NVIDIA that I've been involved with, I'm sure Pearl and Overjet are the same, that they've had some impressive data with respect to case acceptance. And, you know, I wouldn't consider it, I would see it an adjunct to what the dentist is doing, how the dentist operates. So they have seen some success with interproximal lesions, with perioral abscesses, using Curodont, and obviously patient education. And the staff is doing a great job of presenting that for the doctor before they come in. So,
Yeah. What's another problem you're trying to solve with AI outside of diagnostics?
well, I think just having access to all that data in efficient manner. So, you know, we have to go to different modules or different softwares, and it just rolls into one process that you can kind of just
Is this the
have an
BI
AI
product you're
chatbot.
building?
Yeah. Well, I don't think it's going to be used for that. That's going to be more data driven over the offices, at least on the DSO level. But I think AI is going to solve a lot of things for the staff, for call in and call outs, less calls. We talked about this before. You're going to get rid of voicemail completely. And
It's gone. It's totally
gone. Right.
Like,
So
like if you're using voicemail, you're in the dark ages. Right. now.
And every front office staff member would say that that's great. I don't have to listen to 30 calls after a weekend or a week off. So, and actually updating the system as the AI does when they call in. Hey, I just need to make a payment. It gives them a link to the payment and they pay, and there's no human involvement with it. So, and I think that's really some of it. I think on the clinical end, it's just going to be getting better and better with getting access to CBCTs. I think that's the kind of the golden goose for radiographic interpretation.
I just had a call with Dr. Keanu Shah, and he told me about Velmani. Have you heard of this
I
company?
don't know that.
VEL,
No.
I think is the way it's spelled. They say, VELMENI.AI.
Okay.
He says they've got it.
Yeah.
I was looking at their website just before I jumped on with you, and I mean, I don't know. You should take a look at it.
I will. I mean, the biggest point is there's data. There's so much data with CBCTs and, you know, bone quality, abscesses,
massive.
number of canals, and you can really do a lot with CBCTs tying into that with treatment planning, success of treatments, what to even consider the success of. And,
well, a 3D image, the amount of data in a 3D image versus a 2D image is astronomical.
Yeah, off the charts. Yeah, it's off the charts.
So the
and then
process
you have
crazy.
2,000 patients that all have a CBCT. I mean, think of the processing needed for that.
Yeah,
so
it's a big lift for sure.
Yeah.
What's one of the most exciting things that you're seeing come into the market, or an idea that's an AI product or service or concept that you are kind of excited about hitting the market?
Well,
or
I
being
think
developed or to develop?
yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing is just, I think the call in and call out patient, just dealing with the patient aspect of it outside, so I call it home to home. When a patient's at home, when they call, whether it's a new or existing, what's their AI path all the way to the end. And to me, calling in and call after calls for SEO or whatever for Google reviews is huge, text messaging and tying in all that stuff. I think just using the data from a clinical aspect is going to be huge. The CBCT to me is the crown jewel.
Those are big. One of the things, just piggybacking on that. So with the Annie product, Annie AI, right? Mm-hmm. So the ability for an AI agent to read the practice management system, and if the data that's in the PMS is more robust, if it's robust, it feeds that AI agent with just an infinite amount of possibility. I'll give you an example. Right. So one of the things, so we talked about note taking, right? Where a doctor can like have the conversation with the patient and then it takes the whole conversation and uploads it in PMS. When, not if, but when an agent like Annie can read the notes, and if the notes are sufficient, if they're deep, right? You have the whole conversation, maybe you have multiple conversations over years with a patient, right? It's all baked into the PMS. That agent will be able to read that information instantaneously and suck it into the conversation. Right. So the future of what like an AI agent, like a phone agent would be, is you call your dentist, the AI agent picks up and it knows it's you because it recognizes your phone number, right? It says, hey, Leland, how are you doing? Great, blah, blah, blah. You have a conversation. Oh, I noticed your birthday's coming up. We have a whitening special for birthdays, birthday whitening special, blah, 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 right? And by the way, last time you came in, we looked at, number 3, and you might have needed a new crown. Did you end up getting that fixed yet? Or it'll suck all of that stuff into the conversation. A human being can't process that fast. It's not going to, they're not going to remember the conversations. So, I mean, that's where this is going. It's like being able to hyper personalize that relationship from an AI. Like there's just some things an AI can do that a human can't do. And there's a lot of things an AI can't do that a human can do. Emotional context and relationship building. But I mean, think about that. Think about calling and an AI agent being able to pick up and know that you're getting married in 3 weeks. Right. You know what I mean?
Just even to say congratulations.
Even birthday, to say that.
Right. That's just good practice management.
Yeah. It's not science
fiction. I mean, you don't have to do it in the morning meeting, right? You're like, hey, so-and-so's getting married.
You're trying to prep everybody. Right.
And it's already done.
It's already done.
It's already
done.
Yeah. And it's already showing the patient, they walk in and you know exactly what's going on. Hey, how was your trip? Because you talked about it last time.
Yeah. Oh, how'd that river trip go? Or blah, blah, whatever. Right. Yeah. I mean,
I think it allows for a better relationship. We talked about this in our pre-talk about the human problem, and that's part of it too, is data in is only as good as data out is only as good as the data in.
Yeah. If it's garbage in, it's garbage out. Right. So if you haven't got the right information in the PMS, then you're stuck.
Yeah. So all those instances we talk about of the potential of AI are limited by the human aspect of it. Is that's what's going in. The staff's being able to utilize it, and they're documenting the tooth and they're saying the right things and things like that. So, I think that plays a role too as well. The systems aren't perfect, and they may get there, but we may never reach it. Not that the human problem is bad. I think it's the integral part of it. It should stay part of the process because it maybe shouldn't be perfect. Right.
I think flaws are important. Human flaw is a valuable part of communication. Right. So an AI is not going to do that properly. It's making mistakes is okay. maybe
not yet.
Not yet. But I don't want to position AI as like this silver bullet that solves all of our problems, because it's not. It's like got a million.
It's an adjunct. At one point, we put computers in every office.
Yeah.
And we got rid of the pegboard. Then the next moment is every operatory got it. Yeah. And then we had to have 2 screens. Now we're having 3 screens. Right. And now we have to have, everything's USB, whereas before it was just you had to have a junction box. And, it's all progress in technology. The other thing with the human aspect is the patients. right? I mean, there's a lot of people that just aren't on board with AI. They feel
Patients
like
are.
all your data is right. All your data is
Patients are not.
automatically
Some of
into
them are not.
ChatGPT, right? They
Yeah.
call in and talk to an AI. They're going to hang up.
Yeah,
I mean,
it does
even
happen.
now we have a problem collecting credit cards. We have a problem getting social security numbers. So maybe some people would take offense that they were on vacation. Even
That's
though they
true.
talked about it last time.
How did you know that?
Right. They're like, that's none of your business.
Yeah.
You're just my dentist.
It's a privacy issue.
Yeah. I mean, I think that you have to weigh that a little bit. And that's going to be a limiting factor is the patient compliance with it. I don't want my office. I don't want to record this conversation.
Right.
And now all of a sudden you go back to the human problem where the staff has to input what you want efficiently.
Right.
And so there's always going to be that discombobulation with the data being put in and being put out and acceptance by the patients, the staff, the doctor, and the regulatory agencies. So,
that's a really interesting perspective. Yeah. I never even thought about it that way, but makes sense. All right. So if there's a doctor listening or a team member listening, they're like, where the hell do I get started with AI? Maybe they don't even have I mean, obviously diagnosis is a good place, but like, what would you say what'd you tell them to do?
Well, I think diagnostic is a really good place to start. They're really good companies. They're solid. You read a lot
and they're
about
well backed.
They're well backed. They're not going anywhere.
No,
they're not going anywhere. And then, you look at, to me, the workflow, how do you want your office to set up? I mean, right now, do you want the in call out call? Are you more interested in the insurance verification? So, what's the overlap on them? And that's a big project to find out the pros and cons of each and the overlaps they have and how that diagram would work. So, I think diagnostics is the first place to start because that's the bang for your buck. That's the ROI, right? I mean, that's the, helping patients be better educated, helping staff be more efficient with their time, the doctors be more efficient, especially in this landscape with PPOs and, all kinds of insurance pays. So I think it's just kind of deciding what you want, start one place, and then you have to be careful of overlapping data. Be careful of the companies that you're getting and how long they've been doing it. I mean, for instance, you have a specialized company like Annie, let's say, that does in and out calls compared to a larger company that does 50 different industries. Welsh Allen used to sell intraoral cameras, and they're the number one lens maker in the world, but they got out of it because they just got beat up. I mean, they just didn't.
Oh, really?
Their quality just wasn't going to go into intraoral. So, who's going to make it after that? So it's kind of picking the companies properly, going slow a little bit, implementing.
I think
don't put too much on the staff.
Don't move too quick.
Don't move too quick. Just kind of get to know what you have, work the upgrades. There's a potential that the cost of AI in your office could exceed a couple $1,000s.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at all the stuff that's out there right now, you can easily get there.
Too far ahead. So I think it's kind of what's the potential, ask questions about, where they think they're going and, are you going to be getting into this environment?
Right.
I mean, and the reps, all the reps are demos now. You don't get to see it online. You have to demo it. And then you get salespersons calling.
So it's it's an investment of time.
It's an investment in time. So one thing at a time. I'd say start with diagnostics. It's probably the most powerful tool you'll have right now. And then, work on the front office and try to figure out what you want there and then just move forward slowly after that. Because I'm always the person who wants to wait for the third upgrade before I buy it.
Well, and this technology is moving so fast that like what we had with Annie 6 months ago and now it's like a different product.
Right.
And it's hard to keep up. A hell of a lot better, right? So, but it's going to be that in 6 months as well. Yeah. No, I'm not telling anybody listeners to not buy Annie. You should definitely buy it.
Annie's a good product. There's a lot out there. I think one of the things that people have to realize about AI, it's not driven by research. It's all market driven. I mean,
totally.
There's no large institutions that are developing AI studies fast enough to meet with the market. So the market's a kind of a pass-fail type of thing. Yeah. Some things work, some things don't. They're going to take some stuff out. They're going to evolve accordingly. And if you keep that in mind, then that may help you kind of just put the brakes on when you feel in your gut that it's just not the right thing.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So that's very cool
great
stuff.
Thing. Anything else you want to mention?
No, I think we covered everything.
Dude, you're
we
awesome.
About. We keep going. Our conversation.
We could keep going forever on this stuff. I'll definitely have you back when we've got another topic that you want to hit on. But thank you. You're amazing.
Yeah, you're welcome.
We appreciate your time and your insight. And I will make sure to put in the show notes, links to your website, links to P1 Partners, NVIDIA I'll put in there. Is there anything else that you would want? If anybody wants to talk to you, like a doctor wants to reach out,
yeah, they can reach out to me. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah,
okay.
if they want to reach out to me, that's fine.
I'll have them shoot. Can they just go to your?
They
your
can
website
go to the website or
put a contact in. All right.
Yeah, I mean, my email's fine, but I don't know if I want to put the email.
No, I won't put your email out there. You get spam.
Yeah, but they can reach out.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Leland. I appreciate your time.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah,
right,
thanks,
you have
Adrian.
a great week. Take care, buddy. All right,
thanks.
man.
You too. Talk to you later.
Thanks for listening to Byte Size Podcast. Tune in to stay up to date with everything dental AI and tech